What if I told you that one of the world's most famous national dishes is a stew so dark green that many people think it looks almost black? It's filled with herbs, lamb and beans. Some people taste it once and fall in love. Others never quite understand it. And yet for centuries, this dish has been considered the pride of Persian cuisine. The country is Iran. When many people hear the word Iran, they think about politics or headlines. But long before the modern world existed, this land was home to one of the most powerful civilizations in history: Persia. Around 550 BCE, Cyrus the Great founded the Achaemenid Empire, often called the first true Persian Empire. At its height, this empire stretched from the Mediterranean to the Indus Valley. More than 2,000 years later, the descendants of that civilization still live on the same vast plateau. Today, the modern nation of Iran covers about 1.6 million square kilometers and is home to many ethnic groups: Persians, Azerbaijanis, Kurds, Arabs, and many others. Yet, despite its diversity, the cultural legacy of ancient Persia remains incredibly strong. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Iran had become a battleground of influence between the British Empire and Imperial Russia. But under the pressure of foreign powers, and surrounded by many neighboring cultures, Iranian cuisine slowly evolved into something remarkable. Over centuries, Persian food absorbed influences from the Caucasus, the Arab world, Turkey, Russia, and even Greece. Combined with its own ancient traditions, this created a cuisine that is both deeply historical and incredibly diverse. Today, Iran is said to have over 2,500 traditional dishes, and in this video, we'll explore just a few of them. After the fall of the Sasanian Empire and the rise of the Abbasid Caliphate, Iran gradually became part of the Islamic world. During this period, rice became increasingly integrated into Persian cuisine. By the time of the Safavid dynasty, rice had become a centerpiece of royal court cooking. This included many forms of pilaf, as well as rice served alongside stews. But perhaps the most famous Iranian rice dish is simply known as Persian rice. What makes it unique is something called tahdig. Tahdig is the crispy, golden crust that forms at the bottom of the pot. To make it, the rice is first soaked in salted water. Then it is partially boiled. After that, a small portion of the rice is mixed with yogurt and spread across the bottom of an oiled pot. The rest of the rice, often colored with saffron, is layered on top. Everything is then steamed slowly. When the pot is flipped over, the result is spectacular. Fluffy rice on top, and a crunchy golden crust underneath. Just a single rice dish can become an entire culinary art form. Historically, however, rice was more common in northern Iran or among wealthier households. For most ordinary people, the real staple food was wheat bread. One famous example is taftun. Taftun is a traditional Iranian flatbread that eventually spread across the Middle East and even into South Asia. It is made from refined flour, milk, yogurt, and eggs, and baked in a clay oven. The result is a soft bread with a slightly crisp exterior, perfect for pairing with grilled meats. Another famous bread is sangak. Sangak is baked on thousands of hot pebbles. These stones create a surface covered in tiny dimples. According to tradition, this bread was once associated with Persian armies. The stones allowed soldiers to improvise portable ovens in the field. Compared with taftun, sangak is chewier and more robust. It is especially good for dipping into stews or soups. Other famous Iranian breads include lavash, popular throughout the Caucasus, and barbari, as well as the fragrant shermal, which is enriched with saffron. Together, they represent just a small part of Iran's remarkable bread culture. When people think of Iranian food, many immediately imagine kebabs, minced or cubed meat, seasoned with salt, pepper, onion, and garlic, grilled over open flame, served with rice, vegetables, and a cold yogurt drink called doogh. This combination is often considered a classic Iranian meal. But in everyday life, Iranians actually eat stews far more often. One traditional breakfast dish is called kale pacha. The name literally means head and feet. The dish is made by slowly boiling a sheep's head and hooves for hours. The cooked meat is removed, and the tender parts, like cheek meat and tendons, are served separately. The broth is then mixed with spices and clarified butter. In some versions, a soup made from mashed sheep brain with cinnamon is served alongside it. The dish likely originated in neighboring Armenia, but it is now popular across the Middle East and Central Asia. Another famous dish is abgusht. This dish is traditionally cooked in clay pots. Its main ingredients include lamb with fat, chickpeas, white beans. After hours of slow cooking, potatoes, onions, and tomatoes are added. Spices like turmeric, dried lime powder, and chili complete the flavor. But the way it's eaten is what makes it special. First, the broth is poured into a bowl and eaten like soup. Then the remaining meat and vegetables are mashed together into a thick paste. This is eaten with flatbread. One pot, two completely different dishes. Perhaps the most famous Iranian dish is gourmet sabzi. Many Iranians consider it their national dish. The stew contains lamb, kidney beans, and a mixture of sautéed herbs. Turmeric and dried black lime give it its distinctive flavor. Its dark green color comes from large amounts of fried herbs, especially fenugreek leaves. Fenugreek is one of the oldest known culinary plants. Archaeological evidence suggests it was already used as early as 4000 BCE. It has been found in the tomb of Tutankhamun and even in ancient Roman recipes. Its flavor is rich, slightly bitter, and deeply aromatic. Today, fenugreek has also become popular as a modern health supplement. Perhaps because of this growing attention, gourmet sabzi has gained international recognition. The American magazine Self even listed it as one of the 12 most culturally significant dishes in the world. And in 2022, Iranian-American NASA astronaut Jasmine Moghbeli famously enjoyed gourmet sabzi in space. Persian cuisine had officially left the Earth. A good way to judge a cuisine is often by its soups, and by that standard, Iran does very well. You can find lentil soups influenced by Egypt, tripe soups popular across Eastern Europe and Turkey, and even nettle soup, which is also common in Northern Europe. But Iran also has its own distinctive soups. One example is yogurt soup, a comforting dish made with yogurt, herbs, and vegetables. Another is pomegranate soup, which today often uses concentrated pomegranate syrup. The syrup itself can contain around 10% citric acid and nearly 45% sugar, yet it produces a pleasantly mild sourness that enriches the entire dish. But the true star of Iranian soups is something called ash. Ash is a thick, hearty soup that forms the foundation of many Persian meals. In fact, the Persian word for cook is derived from this dish. Its history goes back at least to the Sasanian Empire. Originally, it was a humble food of ordinary people. But over time, it became an important dish for celebrations and gatherings. Today, there are said to be more than 50 regional versions of ash. The most famous modern version includes noodles, which is interesting because despite their love of wheat, Iranians historically haven't been very enthusiastic about noodles. So ash may actually be one of the few noodle dishes you'll commonly find in Iran. Iranian desserts have a natural advantage. The country's geography produces some of the world's finest dried fruits and nuts. And historically, two ingredients dominate Persian sweets: saffron and rosewater. One famous dessert is bastane, a traditional saffron ice cream often served at festivals and ceremonies. But perhaps the most unusual desserts are the following two. The first is falooda. This dessert evolved from faluda, a cold drink popular during the Mughal Empire in India. The Iranian version uses thin starch noodles served with frozen sweet syrup. In many ways, it can be imagined as ice cream made of noodles. And despite its unusual appearance, falooda is actually listed as an Iranian national heritage food. The final dish may challenge everything you expect from dessert. It is a mixture of shredded lamb and yogurt. The meat is mixed with sugar, saffron, and dried fruits. The result looks almost like ice cream. Its technique is somewhat related to another traditional dish called halim, in which ingredients are slowly transformed into a smooth, unified texture. In both cases, the original ingredients are completely reshaped. Sweet meets savory, meat becomes dessert, and the result is surprisingly elegant. After exploring all of this, one thing becomes clear: Iranian cuisine is not just about food. It is a reflection of thousands of years of civilization. A cuisine shaped by empires, trade routes, migration, and cultural exchange. And perhaps that is what makes Persian cooking so fascinating. It constantly transforms its ingredients into something unexpected. A true culinary magic. If this episode changed how you see the past, hit like and subscribe. Food Tales drops a new story every week, and the next one is already cooking.